Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into a topic that's pretty much everywhere now, conversational commerce. It's the technology that is totally changing how we shop, how we talk to brands, and even how we think about customer service. All right, let's get into it.
Right? It's a question we've all asked our devices in some way or another. But what does the actual science have to say about it? Well, we're going to answer that by digging into a massive review that pulled together basically the entire field of research on the subject.
So, first things first, let's make sure we're all on the same page. What exactly is conversational commerce? Because let me tell you, it's a concept that has absolutely blown up in the last few years. And when I say it's blown up, I am not kidding. To really understand this whole field, the paper we're looking at analyzed, get this, 722 different research publications. That sheer number should tell you something. Researchers, marketers, psychologists all over the world are scrambling to figure this out. But here's the really wild part. It's when all this research happened that tells the story. Over 65% of it was published in just one 3-year stretch. So this is not some slow, creeping trend. No, this is a full-on revolution. And it's happening right in sync with the explosion in artificial intelligence that we're all seeing.
Now, at the very heart of this revolution is what's called a conversational agent. These are simply the systems that are designed to talk with us. And I want you to think way beyond just a little chatbot on a website. This means things like virtual avatars you see online, or even actual physical robots you might find in a store. Their number one job? To talk like a person.
So conversational commerce is just taking those agents and using them in a commercial setting. It's all about trying to close the gap between, say, the helpful, personal experience of talking to a real salesperson and the sheer convenience of shopping online. It's really trying to put the human back into how we interact with computers when we shop. So, knowing what it is just leads to an even bigger question. Why on earth does this work? Why are we so willing to have a chat with a machine about what we should buy? Well, it turns out the answer is buried deep in our own psychology. Researchers found that our reasons for doing this really fall into two big buckets. On one side, you've got the practical, what they call utilitarian reasons. Is it useful? Does it make things easier? But on the other side, you've got the emotional or hedonic reasons. Is this fun? Is it cool? Is the little avatar, is it cute? And both of these are incredibly powerful drivers. And this just shows you how powerful these interactions are. This quote from a key study points to a pretty shocking discovery. Our basic emotional and psychological reactions can be identical whether we're talking to a person or a really well-designed bot. A machine can actually build trust and create a satisfying relationship just like a human can. To make sense of all this, the researchers laid out a simple framework. You can think of it like a journey in 3 steps. It starts with the antecedents. Those are the initial triggers. Then it moves to the mediators. That's all the psychological stuff happening in our head. And finally, it all leads to the consequences, the real-world results. Let's break each of those down.
So, what kicks this whole thing off? These triggers, the antecedents, are a blend of those practical and emotional factors we just saw. We're drawn in because we think it might be useful, but also because it seems kind of fun or cool, or even because the agent itself gives us a sense of social presence, like we're not alone. And yet, cuteness is officially a scientific factor here.
Okay, so once we start interacting, our brain processes the whole thing through these mediators. Key questions start popping up in our mind, like, does this agent feel human-like? That's a concept called anthropomorphism. Do I actually trust this thing? How worried am I about my privacy? Do I feel like I'm in control of the conversation? These mental filters are what shape how we feel about it all. And finally, all those feelings lead to real, tangible actions, the consequences. If the triggers worked and the psychological stuff was positive, it cashes out into direct business results. We are literally more likely to buy something, to become loyal to that brand, to feel satisfied, and even to go tell our friends about the great experience we had talking to a chatbot. This all sounds amazing, but it also feels a little bit like magic, right? So let's just take a quick peek behind the curtain at the tech that makes this whole thing possible. Under the hood, you've really got 2 big layers working together. First is the pure AI engine.
Machine learning helps the bot learn from thousands of conversations, and natural language processing gives it the power to actually understand the nuances of what we ask. But the second layer, design, is the secret sauce. That's what connects the tech to our psychology. This is where personalization makes the conversation feel like it's just for you, and predictive analytics can anticipate what you need next. That's what creates the trust, control, and enjoyment we were talking about.
So when you put it all together, the tech, the psychology, the business outcomes, what does this actually mean for the future of how we buy literally everything? The big takeaway from all this research is pretty clear, and you can't really avoid it. Talking to machines to get what we want isn't a gimmick. It's not a passing fad. It is fundamentally rewriting the rules of commerce. And it's on its way to becoming the new normal for how we interact with companies.
And that leaves us with one last huge question that the researchers themselves are asking. As these AI agents get more and more human-like, what are the long-term effects, not just on sales figures, but on our own behavior, on our expectations, and maybe even on our very relationship with the brands we deal with every single day? That is a conversation we're all just beginning to have.